Tonight, President Trump says he'll sign a peace deal with Iran tomorrow. But on the home front, he's taking punches. At the Kennedy Center, a curtain goes up, and behind it, the president's name comes down. At national parks, a judge orders displays on slavery and civil rights restored, calling their removal censorship, while the White House readies for a brawl.
I'm Olivia Gazis at the White House, where the stage is set for a new spectacle, UFC Fight Night. What we know about the crowds and the costs as the president gets set to celebrate his 80th birthday.
I'm Yudhiaz Tayev in Tel Aviv. Both the U.S. and Iran say an agreement to end the war is close at hand. Why this time, it might happen.
Also tonight, new weather threats. This disaster in Virginia with one person killed and nearly 24 injured. Who's at risk now? Plus, heat alerts on both coasts. We're tracking it all. America revolted against the royals 250 years ago, but the British still embrace them. Why this tradition is like no other.
I'm Holly Williams in London with a colourful royal tradition that dates all the way back to the 1600s.
World Cup win.
I'm Nicole Valdez in Los Angeles. The USA storms to victory as fans celebrate. But with all the excitement, why do some stadiums still have empty seats?
All that plus finals fever.
I'm Doug Williams in San Antonio, Texas, where the New York Knicks hope to end a 53-year championship drought, but the San Antonio Spurs look to net some divine intervention.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening. Jerika is off. I'm Chanel Call. We begin with a diplomatic breakthrough tonight. President Trump says a deal to end the fighting that's rocked the Middle East for more than 3 months and strained the global economy is at hand. But in the nation's capital, new setbacks for the president, including his name stripped from the Kennedy Center after a federal judge ruled the naming was illegal. At the same time, final preparations now underway at the White House for UFC Fight Night and the president's 80th birthday. CBS's Olivia Gazis is there. A lot to cover tonight, Olivia, leading us off. Good evening.
Good evening, Chanel. The president has said many times before an agreement with Iran was near, but in a social media post today, he said a deal is scheduled to be signed tomorrow. That announcement comes as he's faced a string of legal setbacks on the home front.
Cover it up!
Crowds gathered to watch as a crew behind a white curtain stripped the president's name from the front of the Kennedy Center overnight after a federal judge rejected the administration's efforts to keep the signage in place.
This tarp, that's a Trump thing, not wanting the public to see his name come off.
The removal followed a separate ruling that paused a presidential directive to remove signs and exhibits at national parks that cast the U.S. in a negative light. Both rulings setbacks to the president's push to put a sweeping personal imprint on landmarks in Washington and beyond. From the White House ballroom to the 250-foot triumphal arch, this week the White House proposed fast-track construction, 20 hours a day of work for the next 2 to 3 years.
We are fighting on Sunday night on the White House lawn, no matter what.
But ahead of Trump's 80th birthday tomorrow, another court cleared the way for a contested UFC spectacle to proceed. A crowd of more than 4,300 people expected to gather in the 92-foot cage known as the Claw, now towering over the South Lawn.
My first fight I've been to in person, yeah. So at the White House, it's going to be an experience for sure.
The $60 million price tag paid for by the UFC, but taxpayers will foot the bill for significant resources from 7 federal agencies. Few Americans, just 16%, according to a recent poll, believe the White House is an appropriate location to hold fighting matches.
Don't like it. I feel like just overall it's very gaudy.
The festivities for the president's birthday and that of the nation come as a new poll shows Trump's support from independent voters without a college education has dropped about 25% during his second term. Chanel?
And Olivia, what more do we know about the Iran deal the president said is scheduled to be signed tomorrow?
The president's social media post today did not say who would be signing the deal or how, but diplomatic sources have told CBS News that it will be signed digitally with the possibility of an in-person signing in the coming days. Chanel?
Olivia Gazis, thank you. Iran's rulers have already survived months of punishing American and Israeli attacks. CBS's Imtiaz Tayev is in Tel Aviv tonight with more. Imtiaz?
Chanel, good evening. Well, despite the president's optimism, a deal with Iran to end the war, kickstart talks on its nuclear program, and reopen the Strait of Hormuz could come as early as tomorrow. Iranian leaders insist any deal with the White House is still days away.
U.S. forces on the Arabian Sea keep a close eye over the Strait of Hormuz. Overnight, military sources said Iranian attack drones targeting commercial vessels here had been intercepted and destroyed, raising fears negotiations to end the war could be derailed again. If an agreement is signed, Washington and Tehran would lift their dueling blockades of the narrow choke point, where 1/5 of the world's oil and gas passes, and end fighting on all fronts, including in Lebanon, where the Israeli military has intensified its offensive against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah in recent weeks. Israel, which joined the war on Iran in late February, has not been part of the current negotiations. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also said his country would not be party to any agreement and would not withdraw forces from Lebanon, a key demand of Tehran. Some Iranians are skeptical. This man saying, "We have never broken our commitments, but it's possible the United States could renege on its commitments and obligations."
And tonight, Iran has announced the funeral for the late Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, will begin on July 4th. The 86-year-old cleric was killed in U.S. and Israeli strikes on the first day of the war. His son Mujtaba, who since succeeded him, has not been seen or heard in public since, Chanel. But Iranian state media reports he is broadly supportive of a deal.
MTS Taib in Tel Aviv, thank you. Oil prices fell by 3% this week, their lowest level since early March. Gas prices also easing. Today, a gallon of regular averages $4.09 a gallon nationwide. That's down by about 40 cents from a month ago. Now to a new weather threat. Tonight, more than 20 million people are at risk for dangerous storms. The plains and Midwest have already been hit hard. This is Omaha, Nebraska today, pounded by heavy rain, strong winds, and hail. And in Virginia, one person there died last night when a violent storm brought down a church tent in Manita, about 25 miles east of Roanoke. CBS Philadelphia meteorologist Andrew Kozak is tracking all of this tonight for us. Andrew?
Good evening, Chanel. We have been tracking severe thunderstorms for the last couple of days. Of course, we've shown you pictures and videos, and now tonight it's the plains and the Midwest, places like Kansas City getting in on a tornado watch, and we're going to be tracking this for you over the course of the next couple of hours. We've already had reports of hail and gusty, damaging winds. Tonight, it's southwest Missouri, eastern Kansas, and then down into Arkansas and Texas as we reset and recharge these storms for your Sunday. Sunday night, we're going to pay attention to the Northeast corridor, including Philadelphia and New York City. Philadelphia, one of the cities hosting the World Cup on Sunday. Houston, Dallas, showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, and some of those could be severe. Let's talk about the second component to all of the weather this weekend, and that is the heat. We have not only heat advisories for places like, well, Charleston, South Carolina, Tallahassee, and over toward the deep south, but it's also the West Coast. More of a dry heat, but temperatures, Chanel, across Washington, Oregon, and California could be well over 100.
Andrew Kozak, thank you. Well, the heat is on for the World Cup. So is the temperature. Tonight's matches will be played with the mercury, get this, in the 80s. In New Jersey, Brazilian fans there showed their pride before meeting up with Morocco. CBS's Nicole Valdez is in Los Angeles with more on this. Nicole, the USA really had a dominating debut.
Chanel, good evening. Last night's stunning 4-1 victory by the U.S. men's team is driving prices up fast for their next match in Seattle. Fans are shelling out hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to see if the Americans can keep that momentum going.
Soccer fans on a high, dancing out of Los Angeles Stadium Friday after an electric performance by the U.S. men in their first World Cup match.
It's an experience, and you can't put a price on the memories we're making.
But those prices have never been higher.
As long as I get to see, you know, Lamine Yamal, Christian Pulisic.
While some stadiums are packed, not every seat is filled.
It's a little ashamed the regular common folk can't come to these games, you know, because it is getting... They're being overpriced, and that's the problem.
FIFA is reportedly expected to profit about $9 billion from this year's tournament. But for many host cities, putting on this over month-long global event comes with a steep price tag, for stadium maintenance, fan transportation, and security.
I think FIFA could probably be looking at ways to help out support it.
World Cup sponsor Bank of America says this year's tournament has created nearly 300,000 jobs nationwide and projects the U.S. economy could see a $47 billion boost.
Economic activity and the benefit that they get is not only the time that the 5 weeks of the World Cup, but also transcends for the next year.
Meanwhile, as the war with Iran continues, the team insists they're here for sports, not politics. But their coach could pull the country's players from a match if protests erupt in the stands.
And we could see those political tensions on display here in L.A. with Iran set to take on New Zealand on Monday. Chanel?
Nicole Valdez, thank you. The British know how to put on a show. Today, the royal family gathered on the balcony of Buckingham Palace to greet the crowds and watch a Royal Air Force flyover, all in celebration of the king. CBS's Holly Williams is at our London bureau with more on this tonight. Holly?
Good evening, Chanel. Americans are celebrating the 250th anniversary of their independence from Britain this year. But here in the UK, there's still enormous support for a system of government the United States rejected: constitutional monarchy. And today here in London, they had their own celebration, the King's official birthday. It wasn't really King Charles III's birthday today. He'll turn 78 in November. But it's the convention here to wish the British monarch many happy returns with a military parade in June. It's called Trooping the Colour, and thousands turned out in central London today to see Charles, Camilla, William, Kate and their children. This is a tradition that dates all the way back to the 1600s and the reign of another King Charles II. He ascended the throne after 11 years of Republican government in this country, a brief experiment that didn't last. These days, around 60% of British people support the monarchy, according to the polls, a figure most politicians can only dream of.
I love everything what they do. It's very important, so I like them to keep going.
Mohammed Atta told us this is the 10th time he's come to watch Trooping the Colour. So you're a huge royal fan?
I'm a huge royal fan.
They're not elected. They've certainly had their share of scandals, but the British royals still command the adoration of many. There were a small number of anti-monarchy protesters today calling for its abolition. And Chanel, some of them were carrying placards saying, "Down with the crown."
Holly Williams, thank you. Straight ahead, visa fee, new uncertainty about who gets to work in America. But first, this story.
I'm Doug Williams in San Antonio, Texas. The New York Knicks are looking to make history. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The San Antonio Spurs are just trying to force a tomorrow. How the two teams and their fans are looking ahead to this pivotal matchup coming up on the CBS Weekend News.
This week, a federal judge struck down the Trump administration's $100,000 fee on new H-1B visas. The much higher fee was aimed at preventing foreign workers from taking American jobs. But some business owners say America depends on that talent.
These are all the projects that we have done in the last 10 years, I would say, in the business.
Kishore Kandavali began his career in America on an H-1B skilled foreign worker visa.
I was one of the first ones.
He now runs a software consulting company in Dallas, where nearly half of his 380 employees have H-1Bs.
Why not give the jobs that you have open to Americans?
There's a skills gap between the people that are available in the market, the 3%, and the skills that the market is needing.
In essence, what you're saying is there isn't enough talent in this space in America.
Especially with the upcoming technologies, yes.
So he was concerned when President Trump increased the initial visa fee from $215 to $100,000 last year. He hasn't hired any new foreign workers since.
With this new rule, I would have lost about $1 million a year.
Much of his business relies on workers from India, home to over 70% of H-1B holders. We traveled there months after the president signed the order.
We are heading to a place called the Birla Institute of Technology and Science. We're hearing there are a lot of students there who will move to the U.S. on a student visa, and then they try to get an H-1B.
We met PhD student Ravi Bhushan, who dreamed of working in the U.S. his whole life.
It would be a kind of career transformation for me.
But lately,
with the changes in the visa formalities and the shifts in the way immigration is now seen in the U.S., now I'm looking at diversifying my options, looking at other places.
Are you doing AI prompts or something?
Yeah.
Back in Texas, Gandavali is worried more changes could come as the Trump administration is appealing this week's decision to remove the $100,000 fee. What happens if there's another barrier to this visa?
Then we'll have to send the work overseas,
which could threaten a pipeline that both skilled foreign workers and American businesses have relied on for decades.
Without the H-1B program being affordable to all the businesses, I'm concerned that the talent might leave the country. I'm concerned about how we're going to innovate in the coming 3, 4, 5 years.
When we come back, not snakes, but bees on a plane. What the pilot did to shake them off. And the risky overnight cliff rescue. We'll tell you where. A hiker is safe tonight following a dangerous rescue on a steep cliff in San Francisco. Firefighters answer the call, braving fog, high surf, and treacherous terrain to aid the injured hiker. The rescue took 7 hours using a raft and ropes. The hiker is now recovering in hospital. In Colorado, a dangerous road rage incident caught on a truck dash camera. Take a look. This happened this week on the busy I-70 interstate northwest of Denver. Both men stopped, both got out of their cars to approach each other, and it even stalled traffic in that lane. Both were later issued summons for disorderly conduct. Social media is buzzing over something strange that happened on a United Airlines flight. A swarm of bees, that's right, bees, tried to hitch a ride on the wing this week just before takeoff from Cancun, Mexico. After a short delay, the pilot left, and the bees, they then disappeared as the plane picked up speed, heading for Los Angeles. Next on the CBS Weekend News, will the Spurs rebound or the Knicks win? We'll head to San Antonio, but first, a look back at this day in history.
Nomination of Mr. Thurgood Marshall, Solicitor General, to the position of Associate Justice, Supreme Court.
Federal court has ruled that the Indians are entitled to more than $100 million in compensation. It's the largest court settlement ever awarded to American Indians.
The FBI says it's reasonably sure that the remaining anti-government freemen are prepared to surrender and face the law.
We end tonight in San Antonio, Texas, at Game 5 of the NBA Finals. So, will the Knicks clinch or the Spurs survive? What we do know is that Game 4 and that historic victory is now the most watched game ever on social media, with 3 billion views and counting. CBS's Doug Williams is there. Amid all the excitement there, I think I've got the Knicks colors on for both of us tonight. What's the vibe, Doug?
Chanel, the excitement is building here in San Antonio ahead of Game 5. And, you know, for Spurs fans, this is really just about forcing a Game 6. For Knicks fans, it's about a chance to witness history, their first NBA title, potentially, in 53 years.
Go Spurs, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
San Antonio's popular bakery chain La Panaderia served up sweet treats to NBA fans ahead of a critical Game 5.
We flew on connecting flights, like whatever it took to be here.
Out-of-towners who bought or were trying to buy resale tickets on Ticketmaster were hit with this notice that sales are restricted to customers residing within a 150-mile radius of Frost Bank Center. A policy Ticketmaster says remains in place despite conflicting statements from both teams. These Knicks fans found a workaround, a friend who lives in the area.
I said, I got a wild idea. What if we just throw you a little bit extra? I'll Venmo you before, so you already have the money, and buy us 4 tickets.
Perhaps an unintended consequence of the regulations, Spurs fans from out of town.
We live in D.C. now, but one of my cards is still attached to San Antonio, so we ran into that problem, had to buy it through my card.
Spurs fans say they welcome Knicks fans to their court to witness their first home victory of the series.
If they follow game plan and they keep a level head, they should be able to win this game.
The famous Spurs nuns partnered with the San Antonio Police Department to share this message.
By celebrating safely and responsibly, that's how we can make it to the championship together.
And Spurs fans that we spoke with said if the Knicks really have to win, we hope that they take the Nuns' advice too and celebrate safely and responsibly. Game 5 here in San Antonio tips off at 8:30 Eastern Time. Chanel?
Love those Nuns. Doug Williams in San Antonio with all the excitement around Game 5. Doug, thank you. And a programming note for us. Tomorrow on Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan's guests include Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That is the CBS Weekend News for this Saturday. I'm Chanel Call in New York. Good night.